Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Straight Out of Boston here. Today I'm back for episode number 37 of my Tampa Bay Rays Let's Play series here on Out of the Park Baseball 18. So today we're back with the offseason after a disappointing end to year number 7 where we lost in the wild card round. We made our, fifth playoff appearance in the last 6 years, I think, technically. Playoff or postseason appearance, I don't know how you qualify that. This says playoffs, so fifth time in the last 6 years that we did make the playoffs, but it was the first year under new manager Pedro Peralta. I thought overall the year was fine. I thought, we just got stuck in a tough division. The Yankees were very good, and we had some underperforming players, some guys who were on the wrong side of the aging curve, like Josh Donaldson, and it just didn't really work out for us. And then we had some injuries too. Carlos Correa was hurt all year, so we had some bad luck. But overall, I thought the year was fine. I was pretty satisfied with the way Pedro Peralta managed the team. So we have some big decisions to make. Jake Bauers, $15 million option. He is coming off a very good year, 29 years of age, and definitely going to be picking out that option. I think he has 2 team options at $15 million each for the next 2 years, and he would be looking at $21 million as a starting price for a negotiation with him if we were to decline that option. So we're definitely going to pick that up, because we certainly want him back next year. Blake Snell also has 2 years left on his deal. Both team options at 14. Actually, I think he only has 1 year left. Snell does. I think Bauers has 2. But yes, Snell only 1 year left at $14 million. So we're going to execute that option. And actually, for an extension, he only wants $15 million right now. So we could decline that option and then maybe bang out like a 4-year extension with Snell, who's been very, very good with us. And that seems like money well spent. So let's offer him $15 million for 4 years, maybe. I'd rather do like 3 years, but that would include this year, the 20. Oh no, this is after the extension. Okay. So did we already pick up that option? Or is it just assuming we're going to pick up that option? I've done this in the past. We might just want to avoid it first and then negotiate with him, but that's kind of a risky deal. Let's get the extension offered first. 15 for 3 years, and maybe the game will even trick him. No, okay. Let's do 16 for 3 years. I was gonna say maybe the game will even trick him and he'll think that it actually is after we pick up his option, but I don't plan on doing that. All right, how about 15 for 4 years? 15 per year, and that last year can be a player option if he really wants. Okay, so we will submit. I probably didn't need to submit that before I declined his option. Void that. Hopefully when he extends it now or when he signs, I'm not sure how this is gonna work. I think I messed up the timing of that, the order of operations, but hopefully that will work. Chris Sale is going to be a free agent once again. His ratings are finally diminishing a little bit, and he's still looking for that big money offer. So maybe we let his market play out a little bit. Like, you see his strikeouts are probably going to start going down, although he still led the league in strikeouts last year at 228. And Kenley Jansen failed to meet the requirement for his option to vest. Thank God. That would have been $12.5 million. I would not have wanted to pay him, and he only missed it by 2 2/3 innings. So I probably should have monitored that a little bit closer. Donaldson also retires. Kind of glad about that. I didn't really want to. I wasn't going to re-sign him anyway. It doesn't actually make a difference. Do we have any personnel leaving? I don't think we do, but I'm going to double check and look at the personnel. And no, we've got everyone here still. Pedro Peralta, inexperienced manager. Okay, so I don't really like seeing that reputation, but we'll see if he can still build on that. Maybe we'll look at, he still has 2 years left on his deal, so I probably wouldn't look at getting rid of him quite yet. Take a look at our pending free agents. We have quite a number of guys. Hopefully we get Snell signed to that extension. And then it's also Gillespie, who's coming off of a very good year, and he's looking for about $12 million a year. That is not a hefty price to pay. He was productive last year. I wouldn't want him on too long-term of a deal, but for $12 million for maybe like 3 years, and we can make that last year player option. Yeah, we'll do that. 3 years, $36 million. That's pretty short money. Hopefully he continues to hit, because he hit for us last year. The year before, not so much, but on level, if you average, that's about 580 at bats, where he was relatively productive. It was probably pretty similar production this year. And then there's also Jairus Familia, who is looking for upwards of 16, 17, 18 million dollars a year. So I'm just going to offer him the qualifying offer and then probably let him go to free agency. Luis Roberts, I will bring back for the 1.1 million. Zach Birdie, he has one more year of team control left, looking for about 4.6 million and what could be his last year as a Tampa Bay Ray. And then Faedo has 2 years of team control left. He is looking for 8 million. Could be maybe time to work out an extension with him. All right, and this is going to be the extension offer to Faedo. 8 million, 11 million, and then into those free agent years, the first 2 years guaranteed at 28 million total, and then 2 team options at the end. So that is 6 years total, 4 years guaranteed, taking him pretty much through his prime, but we lock him up a couple years before he hits free agency. So that seems like a pretty good extension for both sides. And then pending free agents without compensation, Matt Carpenter, not going to bring him back. Brad Miller, probably same thing, especially after he was pretty terrible for us down the stretch. Although he's not looking for a ton of money, and he does represent not a terrible left-handed bench bat because he can play a few different positions, including shortstop, and he was good with Milwaukee before he got traded. And then Real Muto, I never really gave him a chance, but he was actually pretty good for us in AAA, and then was all right once he got called up. Not a huge sample, but we'll probably look at different options for catchers still, despite that. We still have J.J. Schwartz and Garrett Stubbs, but Schwartz had a really disappointing season. And looking around at the rest of the roster, still the infield is an area of need. We have Mike Donnelly, who could fill in for Donaldson, but Donnelly still seems like he'd probably start the year in AAA or AA even. So a short-term option and then maybe a more long-term option at shortstop. And as for the outfield, we have Robert Beck, who is a center field option, although probably more ideally suited to play corner spot. And we still are going to have Schwarber as a DH for next year. And he's coming off a pretty good season as a hitter, so I definitely will want to keep him. But the big thing is we already, we don't even really have to unload money. We already have a ton of money to spend. Look at how much of a payroll drop-off we're going to have, and that stems from, this doesn't include the Snell extension if we do extend him, but that's just losing Familia, losing Miller, losing Jansen, and losing Sale. Obviously, we'll see what we do about Sale. If we get Snell back, we'll still have Snell, Faedo, and Honeywell no matter what, even if we don't bring Sale back, but I think I'm going to let Sale go to market and just see what other starters are going to be available. And that would mainly have to do with his diminishing ratings and just the fact that he probably wants a long-term deal. Maybe we could do something sort of similar to what we did last year. He thinks he's going to make more money than he did last year, though, so it would have to be like $30 million and then maybe a similar 2-year player option, so he would do that. So that's 1 year, $30 million. We have the money to spend, so I think I am just going to bring him back. And we have to activate Correa. Correa's injury right now is up in the air. I think he will be fine once he returns. I forgot about him. So we do have him at shortstop. Hopefully he comes back fully healthy at shortstop. Then we really only have to look at third base. But we also have Jim Fisher, who's going to be pretty much out for all of next year as well, which is really unfortunate. Although the timeline says 11 months right now, so maybe he comes back right before October. That would be pretty amazing. All right, so we're at the end of award season. I don't think we won anything. Sale came in second place in the Cy Young. And I think Dan DeYoung was second place in the reliever voting. But I don't know we didn't win a single Gold Glove. I know we didn't win a Silver Slugger, so pretty much didn't win anything. We did re-sign everyone who I wanted to re-sign. What does Jansen want money-wise? $10 million. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother risking offering him the qualifying offer then. We re-signed Sale. We got him on that $30 million deal with the second-year player option. We've got Snell re-signed. We got Gillespie re-signed. So heading into the offseason, our main positions of need, we'll still keep an eye on catcher. And then possibly, I think we're still looking for another young starter to replace Sale long-term, along with Honeywell, Snell, and Faedo. And Miguel Lara didn't really step into that role last year, so maybe more on the trade market. We're kind of looking for a young starter. But lineup-wise, certainly third base, and then maybe one more outfielder to upgrade on this sort of Bradley and Robert platoon kind of thing we got going. Not really platoon, but if we could have them platoon in center, that'd probably be more ideal than having them each occupy a starting spot. And Bradley makes $3 million next year, so we're going to keep him. He was solid for us last year. But we have lots of money to play with. That's why I'm not really too worried about trying to make trades before free agency starts, when teams usually have more money available to them, which would allow us to make more trades potentially in the event that we're trying to offload salary. But we're not really trying to do that this year. We're more trying to take on salary. So we are fine making trades once free agency starts. Keep an eye on the international market. Last year there were a couple good international guys. We were unable to capitalize on any of them, unfortunately. But maybe this year will be the year. Of course, this year there will probably be no good international free agents, I'm sure. That's usually how it works. Familia will head to free agency, so we'll probably get the comp pick on him. And bullpen is another area where we'll continue to look to add pieces. We tried to add Jansen last year. It didn't really work out. And now we lose Jansen and Familia, so we'll probably look to add one more good reliever at the very least. And there's one good international player, Luis Molina, a first baseman out of Mexico. And he has solid ratings, not looking for a ton of money. He is a bit of a motor mouth, apparently, but $2.8 million. He can certainly come in as a bench bat for us, if nothing else, next year. 2 years with team option, maybe, for that second year, and we give him $3 million. And let's just take a look at the other free agents. Don't see a ton of huge names here. I saw Carlos Martinez, though. He could be, thinking about... I guess we already did re-sign Sales, so what am I talking about? Gleyber Torres, he's coming off a really good second half with Pittsburgh after he got traded last year. Zach Britton, Alex Colomé, not looking for a ton of money. Still has very good ratings. He could be a guy we bring back. He had 4 years away from us, one with Austin after we traded him, and then 3 with the Mets, in which he was decent. Still a lot of strikeouts, but the walks and home runs, a bit of a problem. Although the home run shouldn't be an issue with this guy. Look at his movement rating. 35 years of age now. Ozzie Albies, if we didn't already have a shortstop, this is a guy I would totally go after. Look at his defensive ratings. And if we didn't already have a second baseman, too, because he could fill either spot, and then, he has the versatility to be able to go over to shortstop if you needed him to in a pinch, or something ever happened to Cabrera long term. There's this guy, who I don't know why he's a free agent. He's from Altoona. Is that Pittsburgh's organization, I want to say? I don't know why they let him go. He seems decent. $1.1 million. Go back to him potentially. There's Luis Molina. Relievers, there's a lot of expensive relievers. Michael Conforto. He's coming off a really good year with Baltimore. He would be someone I would consider if I didn't already have Schwarber. But I feel like him and Schwarber at this point pretty much are both just DHs. So and they're both left-handed, so I don't really want to have both of them. Mauricio Cabrera I do like a lot. He doesn't have the stamina to be a starter anymore, so he is full-time reliever, but I've always liked Mauricio Cabrera. He's been good. He usually turns out to be a good sort of swingman starter or reliever in this game. I don't know if I've had him in past saves I've done in series where he's been very good for me, but I've certainly had him in past saves one way or another. There's this Yusniel Diaz, who also isn't looking for a ton of money. He could play a corner spot. He is right-handed. Could play a little bit of center field in a pinch. Borderline hitter, according to our scouts, though. You don't love to see that. Here is Gleyber Torres, who still plays only shortstop and has very good contact skills. But other than that, I don't really love. No compensation, though. That is one thing. But the $28 million certainly a turn off. And here's what the catching market looks like. Not really too much better than it has been in the past. There's still Zunino out here. Did not play at all last year, apparently. Could certainly be an upgrade over J.J. Schwartz if we ever threw Schwartz into a trade of some sort. But Posey, 37 now. It feels like a little too late to get Buster Posey. I don't really want him at this point. And then there are these guys, Feliciano and Real Muto. If Real Muto wants to come back for just another minor league contract, I would take him back perhaps. Ricardo Rodriguez will give him a minor league contract. And just looking at all these guys, there isn't really like a big free agent that I see worthy of me investing a ton of this money into. So perhaps we will look to absorb money on the trade market. Or, maybe we could invest in like a Zach Britton for 1 year if we didn't find anything we loved on the trade market. But still, like that third base, I still think third base or one more infielder is like a really important need for us, or could be an important need for us. And there just aren't really... Like, look at the third baseman on this year's market. There's this Candelario guy, compensation, coming off a 5-1 season with San Diego. decent ratings, but nothing that jumps out. So I do feel like a trade might be the best option this year. So this was really one of the, or pretty much the only deal I could find for like a solid third baseman, a good third baseman in Rafael Devers, who, you know, is obviously just recently called up in real life, but he's put together a couple 4.5 win seasons the last couple of years. He stayed healthy, 150 games in each of the last 3 years, and he stayed healthy pretty much his entire career. And he's been, you know, a very solid hitter for the most part. 1 year commitment at $12.4 million, and then he'd be a free agent afterwards. And it's pretty much the big cost is Luis Reina, this big international prospect who we have. He's 18 years old. Our head scouts don't love him nearly as much as, although the scouting reports on him are pretty nice, but our head scout ratings on him aren't as high as the OSA ratings. So, and he was signed a couple years ago before we brought in Logan White. So not even really one of the guys. I don't quite remember signing him. But, you know, obviously he has good hitting ratings, potential-wise. But this is really a move I think we need to make to stay in it as a contender. So we're sort of selling off a bit of our farm system. And these guys, Art, Myatt, and he was a 4th-round pick. And Steve Courser, 3rd-round pick. Not really anything special here. So let's look at the rest of their team. They still have Chapman at $10 million for 1 more year. How was he last year? 3 point. He was good after the trade, after he got traded from the Giants. And the Red Sox are a rebuilding team right now as it stands. So this is why they are willing to sell off a piece like Devers with only 1 year left on his deal. Glass now they seem to be ready to sell pretty low on. We could get him for this guy, Josh Kelly. And Glass now could be our new 5th starter. Oh yeah, 5th-round pick, Josh Kelly. I think I'll trade this guy for Glass now. Why not? This seems like a no-brainer. He has been pretty bad, but his ratings are decent, I should say. He was bad last year. 2 years ago, he's fine. And, you know, 5th starter, $11.6 million. I think that's pretty... I mean, it's a little expensive for a 5th starter, but I think that's a fine deal to make. And he's a little bit of Chris Sale insurance if he has a good year and Sale leaves in free agency after a year. So this makes this trade even better. We're getting 2 guys now pretty much for Luis Reina. And Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts would kind of be the other guy I'd sort of be interested in because he seems like he's a solid hitter. He's signed for a long time, though. Not a lot of money each year, but I don't know. He has 10-5 rule now, so the time to get him would have been free agency, unfortunately. They have a couple infielders. I don't think we're going to be able to make a deal for another player unless we didn't take Glass now. But even then. So we could get this Lorenzo Cedrola guy, but he can't really hit. He's only got 1 year left of team, or 2 years left of team control. Whoops. So I think I'm just going to get Glass now instead. It doesn't really seem like it's that much of a benefit. And I guess Groom would be the other guy, but I don't think they'd trade Jason Groom. Yeah. He's a beast now, it seems. Still making the league minimum, and he had 3.70 ERA last year. 2 years ago, he's really good. Look at his year 2 years ago. Whew. 11.6 Ks per 9 last year. He fell off, but 2 years ago, wow. All right, so this is gonna be the deal we make. We get Devers and Glass now for Luis Reina, Josh Kelly, the 2 headliners, and then Art Mallette and Myatt and Steve Courser to sort of no names, and that is gonna be the deal. So a pretty big trade we pull off with the Red Sox, an interdivision trade. And we fill our hole at third base for at least 1 year. We get a 5th starter as well. So now we can pretty much focus all of our attention on the bullpen, I think. I guess we still have that 1 outfield spot that we could maybe use someone at. And it does look like Correa is back and fully healthy now, ready to go. Hopefully he stays healthy. We definitely need shortstop depth. I guess Christopher Torres will be that shortstop depth to start. Other than that, like I said, the 1 outfield spot really where we need to. And we'll keep Scavuzzo if we can to be a right-handed option at DH. We have Ramiro, Rodriguez, Cadenas, Robert, and Bradley right now, but certainly one other guy to play next to Robert I think would be perfect. Robert can play center field, but ideally you would bring in a center fielder to let Robert play in the corner spot. Although if you had a big corner bat, you could potentially get, I think I would take that right now. Especially a big right-handed bat if you look at our lineup. We're leaning a little bit left-handed heavy after the addition of Devers. But looking at the bullpen, there's definitely, especially if Fisher's going to be out for the entire year, certainly room to bring in 1 more guy here, 1 or 2 more guys. And we have the money to do it at this point We don't have a lot of long-term money, so this has been a really good offseason financially. We haven't invested in any long-term contracts, really. Now, we do only have about $9 million left to spend, so we're not going to be able to go after like a Zach Britton. But Alex Colomé for sure. We will try to bring him back for $6 million, maybe for 3 years, with that last year being a team option since he's 35. And honestly, I'd rather be that like $5 million. So that is going to be our offer to him. And then we don't really have that much money left. So with the money we do have, we would probably be looking at a guy like Jose De Leon, perhaps, who was with the Cubs last year. And he could be a long man / sixth starter option. Mike Soroka, perhaps. Tyrell Jenkins. Jenkins wasn't bad that long ago with Austin. I think I'd bring him in for $1.3 million to be our last reliever and potential sixth starter over De Leon. I'm bringing him back over De Leon. Or instead of bringing back De Leon, there's Michael Kopech, who has terrible command, but good stuff. He's been a starter pretty much his entire career. I would certainly turn him into a reliever. Bring $1.3 million. I'd rather him for less money than that, I think. So we're just a couple days ahead of the Rule 5 draft here. And the only guy we are struggling to sign right now is Alex Colomé. We've already come to terms with Luis Molina and Tyrell Jenkins, but Colomé is proving to be the tougher guy to sign, so he's looking now at even more than $6 million, which is really getting tight with our finances. Let's offer him 6.5. Hopefully he takes that. If he doesn't, we might not really be able to offer him much more than we can. I probably should have looked at maybe getting Boston to eat some salary on Glass now and Devers, because now that I think about it, we did take a lot of money back in that trade for the next couple of years, and that is sort of limiting what we can do with our bullpen right now. But maybe we'll find something in the Rule 5 draft. Occasionally, I have found good relievers in the past, although I should probably look at all players. We'll see. Yeah, I don't really see anything too appealing right now in this draft, but we have to add some of our guys to the 40-man first. And now that we've done that, we can auto pick until Tampa Bay's next pick, although I don't think we're going to take anyone. There's Cade Pollard and there's Joe Young. Pollard, corner guy, left-handed bat. Don't really need him since we signed Luis Molina. This guy is a corner outfield bat. He doesn't really walk a lot, but he does have good hitting ratings, good power. He does have good power. Do our scouts like him? Near elite prospect, according to our scouts. 22 years old. Let's take him. Why not? We will take him and see how he does in spring training, perhaps. He earns... Since we haven't really figured out that corner outfield spot, might as well take a shot on a guy like him. And Colomé still not ready to accept the deal. Now looking at $7 million, which is pretty much that would pretty much eat up our entire remaining money available. So I can't really do that. So the question is, now do we potentially maybe try to trade one of these guys for a better reliever? We still have Robles, Jenkins, Givens, Birdie. So we still have like 2 more spots up for grabs. One of them would ideally be used on a lefty at the very least, if not both. Honestly, ideally, it'd probably be both, but this Tim Anderson's a free agent. So it's proving to be very tough to trade for a reliever, which is kind of becoming a problem because there just aren't that many good relief pitchers left on the market for salaries that I really want to pay them. Let's look at all relievers. There's lefty. Alex Claudio's like just a little bit above my market. He's actually looking for like $11 million at this point. Other lefties, there's this Ty Black, but he's out for the next 8 months. So not really looking at him. So there aren't really any left-handed options, and the right-handed options aren't that much better. Matt Barnes, it's been terrible the last couple of years. Cody Allen's been pretty bad. JB Wendelken, same thing. Colomé would have been a decent option. I guess there's always De Leon. I could go after him, but we sort of already have a bunch of guys who are sort of swing guys. Maybe De Leon, if he just settled into a permanent role as like a one-inning guy, could thrive. But there's also Kopech still. Looking at batters, though, there is this Dustin Fowler, who I kind of am a little bit intrigued by. Let's go down. He is right here. He can play all 3 outfield positions. He was a good batter last year, although very limited sample, only 91 ABs. Previous years, he's been right around league average and then pretty well above league average 2 years before that, both years. So I like him. I like that he plays all 3 outfield positions. He can run the base as well. Our scouts think he has good offensive instincts. He seems like a solid outfield option at $6 million a year, which is right around what we have. So maybe we could afford him and one other reliever, but then we're like really cash strapped rest of the year. So maybe we should just go after the 2 relievers and hope that what we have in the outfield is enough. In Joe Youngs, Luis Robert, maybe some Jackie Bradley Jr. All right, so I've decided I'm just going to sign DeLeon and Kopech to fill out those final 2 bullpen spots. And I'm going to have to learn how to... Is it Kopech or Kopech? I don't even know. I'm going to say Kopech for now. Even though that's probably wrong. But he does throw 1,000,000 miles an hour, so hopefully he will be able to help us out in a 1-inning role. And I could honestly, like... That was the thing about the Sale trade. People, obviously the Red Sox gave up 2... he doesn't even want to play for us. Never mind. But yeah, obviously the Red Sox gave up 2 very good prospects in Kopech and Moncada. But the thing about Kopech as a prospect is I don't even know if he's going to be a starting pitcher, to be honest. So if he ends up as a reliever, then... Although relievers, can be very valuable in today's game, still don't... I think it's... the way Sale is pitched, I think anything would have been more than worth trading for the guy, considering they have him for the next 3 years at least. Hard to not like that trade from the Red Sox perspective. And we do land Jose DeLeon, so he will be brought on as a relief pitcher for us. And our 40-man roster is full. But now we have, kind of a bunch of different options for those last 2 reliever spots. We're going to add DeLeon. And maybe we find a guy on waivers, but let's look at the manager for staff. So you see... Right now it has DeLeon and Oviedo occupying those 2 spots, but they could easily... One will probably go to Tyrell Jenkins, and there's going to be a spot for a Fisher spot here too, so assume Jenkins gets one of those spots. But you also have Colton Hawk and Miguel Lara, so 4 guys for those 2 spots, although they're all right-handed options, which I don't love. But other than that, the roster looking pretty good. We're going to hold on to J.J. Schwartz for now. He still makes the league minimum. Once he hits arbitration next year... Perhaps he will be non-tentative. We might go back to Mike Zunino if his ratings are still good. But Schwartz can play first base, which is kind of nice, although we do have Luis Molina for that. Molina starting at DH for us right now, though, over Kyle Schwarber. Kind of interesting to see. We'll see if that lasts. So it is that time again for the World Baseball Classic, or the World Cup of Baseball, as it is known in this game. And I'm just taking a look at the Team USA roster. We actually have, I think, 6 guys on this roster, and they're all pitchers. Like, legitimately all pitchers. Faedo, Glasnow, which I was surprised to see, Snell, and then DeYoung, that's 4, Birdie, 5, so maybe it's just 5, because I think those are our only 2 relievers. But yeah, we have 5 guys on this team, and they are all pitchers. No batters for us, which I guess is not too surprising, but it'd be nice if we had one offensive player good enough for this roster, maybe for other rosters, I don't know. So we are at the start of the first round of play for the World Baseball Classic. USA vs. Colombia is the first game. We did just get someone on the disabled list, not on the Team USA roster, but on Tampa Bay, and it was Jose DeLeon, who's going to be out for 3 months, I believe. Yes, sir, with elbow inflammation, which is too bad. We can't do that right now. He's actually on the... Oh, my God, he got hurt at the World Baseball Classic. He's pitching from Puerto Rico, isn't he? Or maybe he got hurt in spring training. I don't know. I guess 3-7. Yeah, it would have been this game. So, alrighty. Well, let's just see if we beat Colombia. First game of the World Baseball Classic. The World Cup of Baseball, they should be calling it. But it's going to take forever to simulate. Oh, my goodness. We won 24-5. So the USA won in the first year in 2017. I don't know if they won in 2021 in this class now. Ended up pitching. They just relieved. We probably got up. Yeah, we were up by 7 runs after 2 innings. So they said, all right, let's take Kershaw out. Let's save him for another game. Respect the decision there. And now Kershaw got, I guess that's why actually he came out, is because he got hurt. Suffered a herniated disc in his back. I'm sure the Dodgers will be loving that. Of course, that's only a day-to-day injury in this game. So we've got the Dominican Republic, game number 2, probably the toughest round for our round of group play, and our toughest game, I should say. And we defeat them 8-1. Syndergaard got the start. No Rays players having an effect on this game. And then we've got the third and final game against Canada. So I imagine 2 wins, or we're already moving on, but this would secure the #1 seed in the next round. Then we do win 7-5. Let's take a look at this Canada team. Anyone? There's Vlad Guerrero Jr., Nick Pavetta, but no one else I really recognize. And we won 7-5. Not a great start for Faido, surprisingly. And DeYoung did get the save. So a couple Tampa Bay Rays having an effect on that game. That's what I like to see. Now we've got the first game of the next round against Puerto Rico. And let's see, Puerto Rico, of course, that was the final in real life this year. And it was Blake Snell with 7 shutout innings before Bobby Redder came in and closed the door, the final 2. So that is a nice 6-0 win over Puerto Rico. Now the Dominican Republic back-to-back days. That's kind of a tough schedule, and we lose to the Dominican Republic 3-5. Glass now with, look at those. Look at that, 3 1/3, 6 Ks of shutout work. But DeYoung takes the L. That's disappointing. So Venezuela, this game, probably do or die. I think we can take a look at the standings. Or perhaps the playoff coverage. So we're 3-0 in the first round. Oh, this is... No, here we go. Let's look at playoff coverage. So we have 1 win. Puerto Rico and Venezuela also have 1 win. So we have to hope the Dominican Republic beats Puerto Rico, and then we beat Venezuela. We have to beat Venezuela no matter what. And we do beat Venezuela. Chris Bryant suffers a torn labrum. Is that in the USA game? Yes, it was. Unreal. Date of injury 3/19. Yep. That stinks. But we do beat Venezuela 6-1 behind Syndergaard's strong performance. And Puerto Rico did lose, so I think we move on to take on Japan in the championship round, don't we? Nope. Or is this... Oh, yeah, this is the championship round. No, this is the semifinal. Okay. Then the championship round. So it is Japan against the U.S. Japan. Wow, look at their run differential, 42-11. So their team's probably also stacked. I wonder how many guys they have that are in the big leagues right now. I'd actually be curious to see. They have Otani, Sugano, this guy on the White Sox. This guy pitches in Japan. Fujinami still pitches in Japan. What about their lineup? How many guys? Probably, I guess I actually do have a lot of guys who are still just playing in the NPB. But I figured they would have had more. I guess they have, like, this guy's on the Brewers. No, this guy's on the Brewers. Shinagobu, whatever his name is. But either way, we have Snell going in the semifinal. Exciting stuff. Let's see if we can defeat Japan. It's the day after we just played Venezuela. Another tough schedule, and we lose in 13 innings. So Snell did his part. DeYoung went 2 shutout innings. Britain takes the loss. That stinks. So 1-0 loss to Japan in the semifinal. And it is the Dominican Republic that defeated Japan in the championship 3-1. They almost did 3 games to 1. But Familia with the hold. Now he's a member of the Cubs. And Gustav, the newest, I guess he's still in the Astros, with the save. Otani takes the loss, did have 10 strikeouts. But we did not really play a part in this. I don't know, what am I saying? Yeah, we didn't play a part in this in either side of these, on these teams. But so with opening day right around the corner, we have a couple tough roster decisions to make. And 2 of these guys are going to have to go, and it's probably going to be Rodriguez and Scavuzzo. It's certainly going to be Rodriguez. And he's going to have to be waived and DFA'd to get sent down. He might get claimed. And the other is going to be Scavuzzo, probably over Jackie Bradley Jr. And are we keeping Joe Youngs? I guess we're going to try and keep Joe Youngs and see what he can do. He's seen as a leader in the clubhouse. I like to see that. But we're going to keep him over Scavuzzo. Hopefully both these guys clear waivers. We also had to put both Fisher and De Leon on the disabled list, obviously. Anyone else interesting gets sent down? We sent down Donnelly. I'm trying to think. Pitching-wise, I don't think we really had too many tough decisions to make. I ended up DFAing Johan Oviedo. That was another decision I did have to make at the end of the day. Hey, we have opening day coming up, so we'll take a look at the preseason predictions in a sec. So here we go. Opening day preseason predictions. 92 wins. Still 8 games worse than New York. And that's mainly due to the offenses. The pitching looks to be pretty similar. We're supposed to have the much better strikeout to walk ratio, though. That's interesting. They're projected to score like 80 more runs than us, though. 85 more, 86, no, 80 something. I don't know. I can't do the math. But anyway, let's take a look at the waiver wire real quick. Why not? There's some good players available. Omar Baldo. I'll claim this guy. good defensive catcher, if nothing else. We don't really need another outfielder. But I'll claim that catcher. See, Jonathan Holder. Ooh. He makes $5.3 million. It's a little pricey, but he's good. Yeah, I'll claim him. He's good. And skip forward a few days, see if I get any of these guys. But if not, that is pretty much going to do it. So as always, let me know what you guys thought of the offseason moves. I think the team is in pretty good shape. The Devers trade, definitely. Yeah, we don't get Baldo. We might get Holder, though. The Devers trade, certainly the biggest thing we had to do, or the biggest move that we did make. Big kind of decision weighing trading our young player in Luis Reyna for a guy Devers, and who should help us win now, and who I really saw as one of the only potential options at third base. And we do get Jonathan Holder, so I'll probably send out Colton Hawk. He might be out of options, though. He is. So perhaps try to trade him. If not, see if he makes it through waivers. If not, I think, flipping him for Jonathan Holder, probably a good deal, because Holder's been pretty good the last couple of years, and he's pitched a lot of innings. I think he's been over 100 innings each of the last 2 years. And I don't know if that's because he's been starting games or if he's just been used a lot as a reliever. But, yeah, we could trade for this guy, Corey Taylor, who at least would have options. But he makes money. So I'm probably just going to DFA Hawk in favor of Jonathan Holder. And here is the newest Tampa Bay Ray, Jonathan Holder. He hasn't been starting games. He's just been going multiple innings out of the bullpen, it seems, he's made. Only 63 and 72 appearances, but the innings over 100 each time. So you can see a bunch of other guys who've been DFA'd, but it looks like all these guys made it through waivers, including Scavuzzo and Rodriguez, which is good. Jose Sanchez, also good. Almedo Barrero and Oviedo. And we'll see if Hawk makes it through waivers. But that is going to do it. So I hope you guys did enjoy this episode. Thanks for watching, and as always, I am out. Peace.